This is our Friendship Friday podcast.
Hello, one
I'm
viewer.
Pansy.
I'm Justin.
Uh,
Yeah,
and we are friends with benefits. Not what you think.
yeah, it is not what you think. Well, we are business partners.
Yes,
So, when we talk about friends with benefits, that's what we're talking about. And
yes.
we're
We're
talking
talking
about
about
friends with other kinds of benefits, not those kinds of benefits, you dirty people.
right. Shame on you people.
Oh, I was gonna say no, like the we're doing this because we want to we want to document our journey. We want to help other people's on their journey. We want to build other friendships with benefits, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So what's the benefits of our friendship then?
I don't know. I can't really think of any. I'm just, um,
Me either.
yeah,
Forget it. Let's skip that.
yeah.
We'll go on to I need new friends.
No, you know what? All the people we know, everybody brings something to the table, right? And so Pansy is just a master connector. She's that's her superpower. It's how, I mean, that's how we met is by her going out and putting herself out there and meeting people and all of that. But, Pansy just is the one that is able to connect and bring the people that we need, right? And then I'm more on the integrator systems side of the fence. So I bring the technical knowledge and I also bring some resources, some financial resources to the table a little bit, but and systems, right? So that's kind of that's how it worked out. And we both help each other out with the business. And we're still, Pansy and I are in the beginning phases of this thing, right? It's really it's exciting and nerve-wracking and all of the things. So
Yeah.
and we want to help other people on their journeys as well, any way that we can, right? And one of
Yeah.
the ways is to document it, what we go through, right?
Exactly. And
So,
it's a lot easier when you have the friends, right?
right,
That understand you. I mean, even if they don't completely understand, but you're not alone, right?
right,
Going through the process of building a business
right.
and learning everything, it helps to have people doing the same things, you know, with you. And we have Timothy in the background there,
Hmm.
who we help learn the real estate business.
And he helps us too.
Yeah.
Timothy, we'll bring him up in a minute so he can introduce himself. But um, that's what this live is about. That's why we decided to go live today because, well, one, we shared the Zoom link with folks in our communities to jump in if they want to, ask questions, introduce themselves. Let's let's stop being afraid to get out there because if you're in the business, if you're in real estate, especially investing of any kind, really, and especially real estate, you can't do it by yourself. So let's get over the fear of getting ourselves out there and meeting people and building those relationships and build all of our businesses together, right? Collaboration over competition is the idea.
Exactly. I
So, yeah,
for sure.
that's really what it's about.
I agree.
Yeah.
Collaborate.
So, well, as we get a little bit further into the episode, I wanted to share some stuff with you guys. Like there's something called the four rules of creative investing that I want to go over. We don't have to do it right now, but I wanted to go over those with you guys because I think it's important for those of you who are interested in real estate investing, especially creative real estate investing. These are these are four rules that really bring home what it means to do this and to be successful at it. And I think it's worthwhile to share. So I'll share that with you guys when we're ready to do that. But for now, I guess do you want to bring Tim up so he can introduce himself?
Sure, he can introduce himself.
All right, hold on just a second, Tim. Let me bring you up. What's up, Tim? You should unmute yourself.
Hey, I'm doing great. And, I really enjoy what I do because I will let everyone know if it's not for God, I wouldn't be in this. And I'm thankful that all the people that He has put before me because I'm here for a reason, and it's to learn more about the real estate and what's going on inside with in the huge community that I've understood. And I'm thankful to be here because I want to know more and I want to keep learning more.
And you will.
And
But let me ask you a quick question, Tim. How long ago was it that you started in this direction?
pretty close to 7 months ago.
7 months ago. And do you feel like you're the same person you were 7 months ago?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
do?
because of the reason why is because here's the thing. What I've learned is I put it on the table, and now I've got a lot more to have the full understanding because the first week I was in this, I've seen and heard so many people were not able to actually learn how and have the full understanding of talking to people in the right way. So how I put it to the test, I went ahead and I started doing it on my own.
So you just
So
took
you're
And
action.
not
that's
the same person though.
Yeah, you're not the
You've
same person.
grown, right? You've grown in the last so many months, correct?
yeah, yeah, I've grown a little bit. Yes, and I'm thankful because I got to meet a lot of people and it's because of a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim,
I mean,
Tim,
all of us, right? I mean, I know
Yeah.
I've grown a lot over these years,
Yeah.
quite a bit.
You're right. I agree. I understand.
yeah. And so let me ask you this, because everybody's story is a little bit different. What got you interested in going down this route? Going down.
Because I had a man that I thought was spamming me.
Mhm.
And I tell this story because it's a great story.
Mhm.
And really, I checked into it and he wasn't really spamming me. I thought he was really putting me in a big check. And I thought maybe he was going to do something even worse. I thought he was a big scammer. And so I did my research on this man. And this is beautiful because this man is a general contractor like I am. And I saw some of his videos and some of his podcasts, and even with his kids. And it's so beautiful that I wanted to be able to learn what he was doing.
Mhm.
So, being said, this man, and I will mention his name, Pace Morby. And if it wasn't for Mr. Pace Morby getting my foot into the his door of the free Facebook group,
Yeah.
I would have never met Pansy.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
Pansy was the one that got me in here, and
Amazing.
she must have seen something in me, and also heard and noticed anything that I had put into the chat, or
Well,
and I
Tim,
think it's
I can tell
wonderful.
you. Let me stop you really quick. I can tell you, I've heard you on the phone. And I've heard you're just going out there and you're taking action and you're making mistakes. Obviously, Pansy and I want to see the best for you, so we want to make sure that you don't go too off the deep end, right? Because it's easy to do. It's easy to see people are making money over here, people are making money over here, people are making money over here. So you start trying all these things. And really what I hope for you is that you find something that you really have that brings you energy, that brings you joy, and you just focus on that and get really good at it. And then you can start doing the other things, right? But I've heard you on the phones, and you have this uncanny ability to disarm people that I haven't heard before. And some people, everybody's got a different style on the phones. When we're negotiating, talking to agents, talking to sellers, what have you, everybody's got their own flow, if you will, or their own style to it. And I've listened to you, and I mean, there was a call that you had. It was a little while ago, but there was a call you had with an agent, and they were ready from the moment you got on. They were ready to hang up on you. Like they were rude. They were just kind of, and a lot of people would have been intimidated by that. A lot of people, especially as new as you are, a lot of people have been intimidated by that and either hung up or choked on their words or got into an argument with them or who knows what, any number of things that could have caused that call to devolve into an all out battle or just ended up on hanging up, you guys hanging up on each other. But instead, Tim brought his really calming
Demeanor.
demeanor, but it's more than demeanor. It's like his cadence, the way he says things, the way he, kind of pulls back and was just very polite. And it just, I think he killed him with kindness. And it's just one of those things that he's just really, he's really good at that. And so that's one of Tim's superpowers. And it's something that he's developed after just, you know, many years. It's also just kind of who he is, but like getting on the phones and taking action. I've seen a major change in the way that you handle yourself and approach certain types of, we'll call them red agents, right? Or red sellers. So I just wanted to call that out. It's something I see in you that is a superpower of yours. And I'm glad you're on this journey. I know it's not easy. Everybody that I've ever talked to that's been successful in business or real estate or whatever always has those stories, has the stories of being broke, has the stories of, sleeping in their car, sleeping on a friend's couch, not knowing what the next day was going to be, how they were going to make money. Everyone. I don't think there's one. I mean, I'm sure there's a few out there, but all the people that I've ever talked to have those stories. And so what you're going through right now, what that should tell you is that you're on the right track, right? You're on the right track.
Yes.
Because anytime that I'll say this until I'm dead. The moment you start improving your life and you start taking a different path to improve your life, the universe is going to start throwing curveballs at you left and right. And I believe it's because, well, the universe just wants to see how bad you want it, right? I mean, that's the way I look at it. It's testing you. How bad do you really want this? Right? Because
Right.
life doesn't stop, right? Family problems don't stop. Things don't stop just because you're trying to better yourself. In fact, most people, who are not friends, a lot of people don't want to see you do well. It's a weird thing humans do. We, when someone's doing better, or at least a lot of people are like this, when someone's doing better than you, we get jealous or we want to see them, we want to see people fail. And like that energy is out there, right? And so you
I don't
Oh
gotta,
know if
yeah.
people want to see us fail. I think it's just,
I'm
the
not saying,
mindset,
yeah, yeah.
that like they don't see how it's possible, right?
Hmm.
And so therefore, the first thing they're gonna do is be negative, right? Oh,
Hmm.
you're falling for a scam. Oh, that's not gonna work. Oh,
Right,
you have to go get a regular 9 to 5, da da da.
right.
But that's just the different mindsets. We were all there at one time, right? And
I
then,
would agree. Well, so the reason I was saying that is because you're going to run into that. You're going to run into
yeah.
people that tell you, "Oh, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why don't you go do this? Why don't you get a job? Why, like, why are you wasting your time?" You're going to get that resistance as you start doing this. As you start really going all full out into it, you're going to get that resistance. And for me and for everyone else, that don't take that as a negative sign. Take it as a sign that you're on the right track, and you just need to keep pushing. Because guess what? All of a sudden, when you become successful and you start making money, all of a sudden now you're a genius, right? So just remember that. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. Tim,
I
thanks for
was trying
jumping.
to get our other guest that's
Yeah, yeah,
hiding,
yeah. You're right.
Brandon, to unmute and turn
Yeah,
his camera on and speak. I don't know if he
yeah.
will.
We'll see if he wants to do that. If Brandon wants to do that, we can bring him up. But thank you, Tim, for talking. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Of
Thanks for letting me be here.
course, man. Of course.
Thanks for
Um,
joining. Yeah.
So let me go over this really quick. I want to talk about the four rules of creative investing real quick.
Okay.
I want to touch on these really quick. Um,
It wouldn't be a Zoom if Justin didn't throw some kind of teaching material in
yeah,
there.
I know. Well, I want to have something. I want to have something. I don't want people just sit there like what listen to us chat. Um,
Why? People like it.
I
You
know.
tell them.
Okay.
It's real people.
It's true. It's raw and it's us just having a conversation. I get it. Well,
It's
look,
supposed
let
to
me.
be fun, Justin.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to bring everybody into a classroom. I don't know if any of you guys know Beardy Brandon. I think most people do, but well, at least most people who are in the real estate investing world do. He's the guy on Bigger Pockets with the big long beard. They call him Beardy Brandon, Brandon Turner. He's got a book called Investing with Low or No Money Down, real estate investing. But he's amassed, just like Pace has, he's amassed himself a little empire, right? And he's done it slowly, slowly but surely, making mistakes, losing money, all these things, and he's done it over time. And he's got these rules, these 4 rules of creative investing that I thought I'd share, right? So the way he and by the way, if you haven't read that book, go read that book. Investing. Actually, here, I'll tell you the name of it right now. Hold on. It's in my Audible. I don't know if you can see that. That's what it looks like.
Nice.
So that's what it looks like. And in there, I think it's like chapter 2, he talks about these rules, and they really hit home because they're not all what you want to hear. They're not what you want to hear. Let's just put it that way. But that's true. And if you embrace them, then I think anybody can be successful in this. So he talks about the Autobahn. The Autobahn doesn't have a speed limit, right? It's this big highway that runs through Germany that really doesn't have a speed limit. You can kind of drive whatever speed you want. But just because there's no speed limit doesn't mean that drivers should be stupid. And the reason he brings up the Autobahn as a comparison is because it seems like in creative real estate investing, it seems like there's kind of no rules really. Like you can kind of come up with any strategy you want and kind of put together anything you want. And while there's some truth to that, you shouldn't be stupid in doing it. There are advisory limits that you should follow. And so the first rule is, when investing creatively, you need to find even better deals than those that invest normally. So for example, let's say there's $100,000 home, and a traditional investor might pay 20 or 30,000 down and make a nice return on the investment from the cash flow, right? But then if we come along and we purchase that exact same house, but instead of 100K, we purchase it, we negotiate it, and we get it for 60K, and we don't put any money down because we took the extra steps to secure a good deal, which is a part of this, like understanding what that looks like. But which of us is in the better position? Is it the person that tied up $30,000 and has a cash flowing asset, or is it us that put no money down, has a cash flowing asset, and paid less for the property, right? Because the person who put the 30K down, they basically have no equity and they tied up a bunch of money, right? So the whole point of it is, at some point, you know, you have to start looking for better deals. You have to negotiate better deals, right? And you have to do better deals than the people that are buying the deals traditionally. So that's rule number 1. That's kind of an interesting that he put that rule at the top, right? And then when investing creatively, you must be extremely conservative, is number 2. So number 1, you need to get better deals than the average Joe that pays traditionally. 2 is you need to be extremely conservative when investing. So I'm not talking about politically conservative. We're talking about assuming the worst in every situation when you're looking at a property, right? Take it as a given that taxes are going to go up, that you're going to sit vacant for a certain percentage of the year, higher than the average for your area, right? Repairs are going to be numerous and expensive, and you're going to need to evict deadbeat tenants. Plan for those costs, and only buy a property if it still works. This is key. Only buy a property if it still works, even after all of the conservative estimates, right? That's why people talk about you have to look at 100 properties before you find one. And that's where a lot of people don't want to do that work.
Yeah.
Jump on the first thing that comes by. And they get that FOMO and they want to jump on the first one. And look, I am guilty. I am guilty.
Yeah.
So anyway, number 3 is creative finance requires sacrifice. There's trade-offs involved with everything, right? It requires jumping through a lot of mental hoops. It requires asking for help. You got to look at creative investing as a puzzle that takes a significant amount of mental and sometimes physical effort. And so the reality is, if you want it easy, you should stay in your job. You should save up a down payment and buy, a normal
How
property with average
traditionally.
returns. What's that? Yeah, buy traditionally and just get average returns, right? That's what you should do. And there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. Like Brandon even says, like, look, if I had the money when I first started, I probably would have done that, right? But he didn't. And a lot of
Yeah.
us, do, right? So and honestly, I think that the people who started with no money and had to figure it out in a lot of ways are in a better position after they get going, right? Because they really had to learn, they had to really push their minds and be creative and learn the process. Um so number 4 is creative finance. This is the last rule. Number 4 is creative finance does not mean investing without a cushion. What does that mean? So he says a wise man once said, you can go broke buying good deals. So you can go broke buying good deals. You need to understand that bad stuff happens. So this kind of ties in a little bit with number 2. You have to be conservative, but bad stuff is going to happen, right? Murphy will show up and sometimes move his whole family in. If you don't understand that reference, go look up Murphy's Law. So you don't need 50K in the bank to buy a small rental property, but you do need to be able to weather the storm when bad things happen, right? So for example, if you lost a tenant, could you weather the storm of multiple months of rental income, eviction costs, repairs of the property? These are important questions to ask, and you need to have answers to those before you jump into buying a property, right? What are you going to do? And there are answers to all the cool thing is, like, all of this stuff, there's answers to all of this stuff, right? Other people have done it, have solved these problems, and the information's out there, right? I don't even think at this point it's not a lack of information. I think it's just lack of taking action, right?
Well, I don't know if it's lack of information or taking action. I think it's that the information is not necessarily out there in the right order, you know, and we get bits and pieces here and bits and pieces there.
Yeah.
And then people try to put it together and,
Yeah.
get things a little messed up. That's where it helps to have the mentors that have been through it, and utilize their experience. Of course, it usually costs money to work with them,
Yeah.
which I mean, I don't blame them because they've already put in the money and the hours for this education. They've already did all of the things that most of the things, not all of them, people still make mistakes along the way,
Yeah.
but they've already stumbled and are able to better assist the next person,
Right.
but we tend to not listen to the people that know more than us, you know, many times.
Yeah, well, so I can only really speak for myself, and part of the problem with my brain is I have an integrator brain. I have an engineering brain. And the problem with the engineering brain is that we need to understand a lot, like we need to have it in our head, or the visual of all of the steps, right? So like step A, B, C, I need to understand what those, but the problem is, in this business, that's not how any of it works. You don't get to see steps A through Z and understand them before you do the deal.
Yeah,
You get to understand them after you do the deal.
yeah,
And so that was a really, really hard mindset shift I had to go through. And really what it is you have to let go a little bit, right? You need to make sure you have the right people around you helping you, number one. But you need to let go a little bit and just trust the process. For me, it was like, oh crap, I don't have every little thing tied up in a nice bow, so I better not move on this, right? And that can get you, well, it'll just keep you stagnant. You'll never move. And so that was my biggest problem. It wasn't that I wasn't taking the advice of people. It's that I guess it kind of was actually.
Well, yeah, I
I
mean,
was kind
because
of
you
not.
wanted all of the steps
Yeah. I
before
was kind
you
of like
took
that.
any steps,
Yeah.
right? Instead of saying, okay, I have maybe step 1 and 2, I can start there and then figure out 3 and 4, later. I'm with you, man. I need all the instructions.
Yeah.
When I buy something that needs to be put together, I don't want half the instructions. I want all the instructions, right? So
Yeah.
because I want to put it together all right then and there, uh, you know? So, I mean, I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Totally. But at the same time, I know that I learn better actually doing the thing,
Oh,
like you can tell
100%.
me so much.
100%.
So let's have Brandy and
Brandon.
Brandon.
Yeah, let's bring him up. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna bring you up.
My wife, she wants to be on here, but she don't want to do the video.
She don't
Oh,
have,
she doesn't want to
well,
do
she's
video.
got
Why
her video
not?
on, but she doesn't have to say anything if she doesn't want to.
Yeah, it's okay. If you don't want to come up, that's fine. I get it. So Brandon has been helping us, and he's been taking massive action too. Him and his wife, like you're up in Alaska, right? Or have you
Yeah.
moved? You've moved out. Okay, so up in Alaska, Brandon, you're a contractor, right? Or am I correct me if I'm wrong there?
Nope. Yep, I am.
Yeah, you're a contractor. So he has got a lot of experience in contracting and repairing, building, all of that good stuff, which honestly, Brandon puts you ahead in a lot of ways with a lot of people. So which is cool. But I'm gonna ask you the same question that I asked Tim. What got you started in this? Like why did you guys even decide to go down this route?
Oh, bro. So, um, really, I mean, prior to getting married, I would never thought that making money was important. Like, I just bought what I wanted, did what I wanted when I wanted, and after
Yeah.
I got married and started having kids, I started, realizing that there was more to life than me just doing what I wanted all the time. And so I started getting into building things, and where it started was I was picturing starting my own contracting business. And then from there, I was learning about taxes and all the incentives. And then once I started learning about the tax incentives and the things that go into that, it pointed me to real estate. And so it went from construction business to learning about taxes to, okay, well, the best advantage that I have is going to be in real estate. And so I just started delving into it the best that I could. It started out with a tax lien course. They have a program called Tax Lien Code. It's an education um,
Yep.
program that they basically do recruiting. They travel around states to states and they do recruiting and try to get you to open up a credit card and give them your money and stuff. And anyway, we decided that that wasn't going to be the way that I wanted to go. So I was on Ron LeGrand's YouTube. I was on Grant Cardone's YouTube. I was on Pace's YouTube. In fact, I saw Pace. I actually saw Jerry Norton, and I completely just dismissed Jerry Norton like he was a nobody. And turns out, like I was wrong about that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Turns out he's like one of Pace's mentors, you mean?
yeah,
Yeah. I think I kind of did that at first too, because I'm like, Jerry Norton.
That's why
I
Jerry,
love Jerry now.
yeah. That's why Jerry is such a powerhouse though, because he's like that silent killer, you know what I mean?
yeah,
He's not. I don't know. Actually, now that's probably
He's not
not.
as aggressive as
Yeah,
Pace, I don't think,
yeah, yeah.
but he is quite knowledgeable and a great person. Him and I are friends, so I love it.
Well, and
It's
so what did you learn? So what's some of the first things that you learned that really got you super interested in like maybe some examples of some of the stuff you learned from like a Pace or a Jerry that you
yeah.
can share?
So the thing that made me think it was possible was obviously the ads that said no money down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then, I started learning about distressed sellers and how there's a need to actually help them. And then, basically I didn't realize that there was so much foreclosure going on and all these situations where
That's
people were
crazy.
just in binds. And so
Yeah.
I was motivated by, the desire to help others and, the ability to actually help them, if they were in a situation like that. And not only that, but I could potentially build a business around that. And so that was what was attractive to me, was that you could use real estate to help others, and you could use real estate to take care of your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, and I think you're probably not probably, you're definitely not alone in that. And
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned taxes because that was one of the first things that I did too. I the first thing I got into was the stock market. So I started investing in like, the safe stuff like ETFs and all that, and started learning about the stock market. And then all of a sudden I found I think like most people, Robert Kiyosaki, and read the famous Rich Dad Poor Dad book. And that was kind of my starting point. And then I went and got his tax guy's book. I forget what it's called. It's like something taxes,
Tax-free wealth. Tax-free
wealth.
wealth.
Thank you. Tax free
Yeah.
wealth. Amazing book. Amazing book. I still read that book. I still go through that book every so often. Um, but it was, it's a lot of the same. It's just, how the wealthiest people in this country pay little to no taxes. Well, one, they hire a very good CPA that understands the tax code back and front, and also through real estate, right? Owning real estate and depreciating real estate and all of those fun things. There's obviously way more strategies than just that, but um, yeah, that's interesting. So, where do you see, because Pansy and I, one of the things that we've started doing is really getting serious about putting down our goals and where we want to be and like putting time frames on it. Um, because otherwise it's just kind of a fuzzy goal that you may or may not hit. Like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I'm curious.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things that we're kicking around a little bit. One of them is it's just basically doing, like the burst strategies and just leveraging, what is it, DSCR loans,
Yeah,
um, and just pulling the equity out and putting it into something else. I mean, that's really attractive. I mean, but really, I mean, if we have, a certain chunk of money that we could just do it with our own money, we wouldn't necessarily, well, we'd have to have the DSCR loans for the equities, but that's
yeah,
kind of attractive. And I think if we could do, a couple properties a year, I mean, that'd be plenty to take care of us. And anything in addition to that, would be, fair game, I would say.
yeah,
Ultimately, I know me, I'm probably gonna go all in. My wife, she'd be satisfied with, just taking care of us. I know, but
yeah.
I'm probably, I think that's a good goal, just to get started.
That's a
But
good goal.
also, what's the other one? Obviously, I want to, even if it's not leveraging my own money, I want to definitely, understand more about leveraging lenders and stuff like that, and being in a position to understand the numbers and being able to, do my own fixes,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
because I can do that. So,
Yeah, that's where honestly that's where I started off first, was trying to understand the numbers and understanding the underwriting and all of that. But it's you're gonna learn all that. If you actually want to learn it, you're gonna learn it. And it just takes a little bit of time to pick up on it. But once you get it, it's like it's very powerful to understand it, right? To be able to look at a property and at anywhere and be able to understand how it shakes out financially so you can make a good decision on whether to buy or not, right? Whether to take it on or not. And obviously, when we're talking about no or low money down, we're not talking about buying real estate for free. Like, there's no such thing as free real estate, really, right? You're talking about leveraging other people's money. And so if you're leveraging other people's money, you need to be a good steward of that money or you're not going to last very long, right?
right.
So it's all about building that track record, and that's the big thing, man. Like, once you get into that place, into that position where you've built up a history with a lender, with multiple lenders, that's when it starts to become like a game. You know what I mean? Once you can gamify it, that's where it's like you're unstoppable at that point. So
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking about it the other day. I mean, say we just had 250 cash, like we could literally buy 100 properties with that
Yeah.
same 250,000.
Yep.
Just putting it in and pulling it out, putting it in and pulling it out.
Yep.
I mean, it's simple.
Yeah. But there's a lot of things to consider, right? When you're because real estate it's all about like anything can happen kind of a thing, right? Like
Right.
you could buy the best property in the best area for the best numbers, and a freaking asteroid could come out of the sky and blow up your house, right? Like you don't know. So you want to like that's what in his rules, in those four rules, is that's what he's talking about, and kind of touch on that. But like you have to be there has to be some kind of cushion there. And so understanding the numbers, that's why I was like so big on that, because like understanding what that looks like, and trying to build in that cushion. But don't worry about it, man. You're gonna learn if you keep going the way you're going. And Brandon too is another one I've heard on the phones that from when he started, it's like night and day. And you're gonna like, because if you're buying properties, you're gonna need to talk to people.
Right.
You can't not talk to people. And so if you get good at that, which you've gotten a whole lot better. Yeah, you're unstoppable, man. Like and then you can train other people to do that same thing. It's not rocket science,
Right.
if that's what you want to do. I don't know if that's what you want to have, like a team or whatever, people helping you guys find properties and all of that. But
We
uh,
might. I definitely, I'm trying to, if we do go that route, I want to get my wife into transaction coordination
oh, I think she'd
and
be
doing
amazing.
management stuff for sure.
Yeah, I
You
think
need to connect with Angel Miller.
She's up here, isn't she?
Angel Miller,
Angel?
no,
No?
is
Oh,
in
there's an
Florida.
angel up here that's a TC.
Oh yeah. No, there's Angel Miller's in Florida, but
Oh, what
she
Okay.
about Molly?
is
Put her in touch with Molly and Molly's group.
I think Angel she would
Maybe
do
better.
so much better.
Yeah.
I love Molly, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. I just um I know Angel more
Mhm.
and what they have done too.
Mhm.
And I think her training is like hands-on without the payment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes.
So you can learn, get in the business and learn it while you're doing it
Mhm.
without having to pay for a course, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know,
Interesting. Yeah.
but I mean, Molly has a course. I'd recommend it for anyone. She's
Mhm.
awesome
Yeah.
too. It's just
Yeah.
whatever fits people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I would say shoot us that contact info and maybe we do something with it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Again, the benefits of having friends, right?
Friends with
Yeah.
benefits, man. Um, no, I think, yeah. And by the way, if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, Molly Tennant is Pace's sort of right hand, if you will. And she also has a TC course.
Yeah.
So
Top tier TC.
top tier CC, yeah. Which I've gone through some of that. I didn't go through the whole thing, but she is very, very Molly, and I'm sure Angel is equally very, very thorough. Um, and you want to talk about how you keep people from taking advantage of, especially someone like Pace who's out there, and everybody looks at Pace and says, "Oh, this guy's got a ton of money. We can, what's he gonna miss 30,000?" Like people do that. They think that way, and they want to take
Yeah.
advantage. And here's Molly, right? Like, no, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen, right?
Yeah,
Big deal. So if you understand like the TC side of it too, equally as important as underwriting, understanding the numbers, right?
agree.
That's where honestly the TC side, that's where the rubber hits the road right there, because that's the contracts, that's everything, that's the transaction. So you can I feel like being a TC, being a good TC is kind of like a license to print money if you're good at it.
Yeah.
So cool, Brandon. Well, listen, thanks for jumping on, man. Appreciate both of
Yeah.
you guys. And yeah, if you keep going, just if you keep at it and the key is don't give up.
Thanks for being our friend.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for being our friend too. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you too. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
We're glad you joined us.
Yep.
So,
So I think what time are we at? We're at 4. Started
yeah,
at 3:15 roughly.
yeah, I think
Probably
you have
good.
it till 6:15.
The Zoom was going till 6:15.
I think. I mean, we
Yeah.
don't have to. We can
I mean,
end.
that's a couple hours. I don't, I mean, we can hang out in here all day. I don't care, but
No, 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 my time. I'm sorry, my time.
oh,
Like,
you're talking about,
like,
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go from 3 until 6.
yeah,
That's a long one.
no, yeah.
Uh, oh my God. All right. But I think we're just about there. But yeah, we're gonna keep doing this. Like you can tell this is raw. Like we're just doing this.
Yeah,
Like,
this is our
sure.
first Friendship Fridays, so
Yeah.
Cool, I dig it.
Yeah.
um,
And we're gonna do more of these. Like people jump in here. And by the way, this is kind of modeled after, if you don't know who JJ is, go find out who JJ is. I'll drop JJ's link in the description. But go check out JJ. We're modeling this Friday,
similar.
Friendship Fridays around JJ's networking type Zoom / recording, whatever you want to call it. But it's a place where we can come in and meet new friends and share our expertise, share resources, whatever, right? So it's kind of that whole thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Share experiences. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Pansy's gonna knock me a little bit, but each time I want to bring up some new teaching moment.
No, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I'll do it early and get it over with. We don't have to do it the whole time, but
No, I think throwing something that people can take away from other than just us telling about ourselves and whatnot. I think that's good. Go
yeah.
ahead, teach away, Justin.
Well, I
You
think
do the
my
thing.
thing is I need visuals. I need to not talk. I need to actually like show visuals so people, because visuals, like crayon visuals I'm talking about, like so people can understand certain concepts. I know that helps me, but we'll see.
Yeah, go for it.
Just like do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want.
All right. Well, I think we're good for now. I think we're gonna end it, but I appreciate everybody and come back again. Let's do
Have a good evening.
let's do more of this.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cheers all. Happy Friday. Have a safe weekend.
Happy Friday.
Yeah.